getting all confused about Omaha, Nebraska. Just a few weeks ago, we did a story about a documentary on black women who are leaving the country to get a retreat so they can get away from white people. You remember our buddy from that retreat? She's from Omaha.
Alexis Bromley is from Nebraska. She needed a break from white people.
The lovely lady who was being mistreated by white people so badly in Omaha, she just had to go on a retreat for black women only so they could all get together and discuss one question. Exactly how much do white people really, really suck? Now we're back in Omaha, and it turns out the problem in Omaha might not be white people messing with black people all the time. It turns out the problem in Omaha might be that Omaha is one big hot chocolate mess of a city where 14-year-old kids can go kill people and then have their family show up and say, okay, whatever, let's try him, but let's let him out when he turns 19. Yeah, I wonder where the kid got the idea that killing white kids who were buying and selling marijuana is okay.
We are learning more about the shooting death of a 17-year-old Northwest high school student in Omaha on Sunday. Police booked two murder suspects, one 14 years old, the other a 15-year-old, for their alleged roles in the shooting at 25th and Crown Point that left 17-year-old Zachary Parker dead, another teen injured. The young ages of the people involved is stunning. Just as disturbing, the brazen nature of the crime.
Today, new details about the shooting came out in court. 3 News Now senior reporter Jake Wazakowski is tracking the case and joins us with the latest. Jake?
Well, guys, the murder was an apparent drug deal gone bad. Local organizations say it's time to change our kids' views on violence. One teen dead, another injured. 14-year-old Tyon Wells will be charged with second-degree murder and 3 other felonies in the death of Zachary Parker. Prosecutors say Parker was meeting a 15-year-old to buy marijuana near 25th and Crown Point on February 25th. Wells, who was with the 15-year-old, allegedly showed a gun, made threats, and shot Parker and another 17-year-old 3 times.
It's extremely disturbing. It's very upsetting even to see this kind of activity with young people involved.
Wells will be charged in adult court, while the 15-year-old will go to juvenile court for conspiracy to distribute marijuana. Police are still doing photo lineups, so no mugshot is available.
It's spreading. The violence is spreading, and like that disease, is starting to infect more and more young people.
Judith Hill is the program director at U-Turn, who works with youth involved in violence by helping them find success. She says kids they work with have unbelievable access to firearms.
If you have a gun in your home, is it protected? Is it locked up? Does it sometimes come up missing and you find it in other places? We have to become a lot more aware that violence isn't something that happens randomly, from person to person, from race to race, community to community.
U-Turn works to find out where the violent tendencies are coming from, whether it's at home, in the community, or on the way home from school, and want kids to know they can make a change.
And we all have to be a little bit more diligent in making certain that we're keeping our eyes out for the signs that tell us this is a young person that we can change them, we can help work with them.
U-Turn says their team is trained, prepared, and experienced in making positive changes away from violence, and they can help families in need.
Is charged as an adult for second-degree murder.
Police say he shot and killed Zachary Parker 2 weekends ago. The victim was 17. As John Chapman reports, the suspect's father is telling the prosecutor why the case should not be in adult court.
The family of a 14-year-old murder suspect wants the case moved to juvenile court. Family and friends of 14-year-old Tyon Wells gathered to make a video pleading his case. The family wants prosecutors to know that Wells just turned 14. He was an athlete and an honor student, and that he grew up in tough conditions.
He was raised in a single home with an absent father. And unfortunately, like most kids in every urban community around the United States, he encountered gangs, drug activities, and violence.
Wells is accused of shooting and killing 17-year-old Zachary Parker in what prosecutors call a marijuana deal that went bad. The 14-year-old faces 4 charges, including second-degree murder and 2 counts of use of a weapon to commit a felony.
We are not trying to minimize the seriousness of what Tai Tai has been accused of doing. We are only asking that Tai Tai be given the opportunity to have his case tried in juvenile court, which is the best place for him to get justice, rehabilitation, and access to services to overcome the adverse conditions in which he has been subjected to.
Douglas County Attorney Don Klein says at this time, Wells is being charged as an adult.
We have a very sound basis for that. But of course, we'll keep vetting the case, the facts, circumstances, his background, and see where that leads us.
Wells' family and friends will stand by him and hope that prosecutors' final decision lands the 14-year-old in juvenile court. With photographer Mike Clues, John Chapman, 6 News.
Douglas County prosecutors say if Wells is found guilty in juvenile court, the courts only maintains jurisdiction over the individual until they are 19 years of age.
Family and friends of Tyon Wells, along with concerned community members, have gathered today to ask the county attorney to reconsider his decision to charge Tyon, or Ty as we call him, as an adult. Ty just turned 14 on December 30th, 2017. He's in the 8th grade at McMillan. Prior to this incident, Ty had only one other contact with the juvenile justice for talking smart to his bus driver, and he had to take diversion classes. Similar to many youth living in high poverty, high crime communities, Ty was impacted by conditions that do not exist in other parts of this city. He was raised in a single home with an absent father, and unfortunately, like most kids in every urban community around the United States, he encountered gangs, drug activities, and violence. However, he has always had the support of his family, who worked tirelessly to steer him away from the lure of illegal activity. The county attorney's decision to charge Ty as an adult ignores all evidence regarding Ty's inability to understand the seriousness of his actions, his impulsive or his lack of maturity in decision making. The county attorney's decision also fails to take into consideration the amount of trauma Ty has endured both at home and in the community. Had Mr. Don Klein taken the time to ask, he would have learned that Ty was on the honor roll every year and was involved in sports most of his young life. We are not trying to minimize the seriousness of what Ty has been accused of doing. We are only asking that Ty be given the opportunity to have his case tried in juvenile court, which is the best place for him to get justice, rehabilitation, and access to services to overcome the adverse conditions in which he has been subjected to.
That's Omaha. How often are we doing stories about Omaha now? A lot more often I bet you thought we'd be doing stories about Omaha. Now we got a whole bunch of black people out there saying, oh yeah, it's okay for a black person to shoot a white person and only get 5 years and kill him in a robbery. And only get 5 years, that's all fine. Because everybody knows making black people accountable for this ridiculous level of crime, violence, and murder, even in places like Omaha, is guaranteed to make the black kids angry.